the last nearly 30 years as an equine professional, I've encountered that I find interferes or causes issue in the equine partnership. So the first thing is the human assuming that because the human is ready to work on something that the horse is. And this can apply to anything, whether it's groundwork riding, any sort of discipline, whether you're in the arena or out riding in the trails, whether you're in the competition arena or just a pleasure rider. I find that most of the time the human agenda takes precedent over what may be appropriate for the horse in their current mental, emotional, and physical state. Number two, many trainers are training the horse according to what the trainer can do, meaning how the trainer can make things work with the horse. But I find there is a huge disconnect between what the horse experiences with the equine professional and then what happens when the horse returns home to the owner, who is probably of less capable riding abilities, less awareness as to what the horse is communicating, and probably has a delay in their timing as far as when their communication is offered. And so this causes a huge disconnect between someone thinking that they paid all this money to have their horse trained, and then they feel like it all deteriorates when they get their horse home. Number three, just because you're ready to add more to your horse's curriculum, we'll say, or training or learning experience, doesn't mean that you have set up enough of or enough quality foundational tools in order to help your horse through whatever new thing you're presenting. So I find often people want to present a new situation where they have a let's see what the horse does approach, but rarely do they assess what are all the little bits and pieces as far as what the human offers the horse as in a form of supportive communication to help the horse break down the new scenario into small segments so that he can first think through it and then offer reasonable physical behavior as he works his way through the new or unfamiliar scenario. Next, I find that many times people are adding the human story to why a horse is doing something. And often this is actually taught by professionals. We insert human emotion, we insert human thoughts, and it frequently has nothing to do with why the horse is responding as he is. But when we are asked to slow down and break things down into smaller pieces so that we can better assess the beginning of the horse's perhaps mental defensiveness, avoidance, unwanted physical behaviors, many times people want to just skip ahead, which is why you can open any tack magazine and see all the gimmicks and gadgets as far as the quick fix solutions. Next, I find most people have no quality as far as how they catch the horse, how they lead the horse, how tacking up with the horse goes, and they don't have an association or an understanding that everything in that beginning seemingly uneventful time influences everything that follows. And if from the start your horse is hard to catch, he can't stand still, he seems resistant, he's biting at you when you're tightening the saddle, some major things have been missed in the communication, and so therefore the more you ask of your horse, the more defensive or avoidant or resistant he will become. The next piece, horses are easier to help than humans. I find a lot of times people are asking for help and somewhere deep inside they really do want it. But the reality of the mental, emotional, physical, and time commitment it takes to often help many of these troubled horses that we find in this day and age, most people cannot commit to. And the quick fix is not sending the horse to the trainer. Can a professional help the horse work through things? Absolutely. But if the owner or the rider is not understanding what has occurred between the equine professional and their horse, as I said earlier, it all unravels rather quickly. So unfortunately, many times with horses, they're thought of as, I bought it, I paid for it, I should have X, Y, and Z responses from my horse. But when you're dealing with a 1,200-pound emotional prey animal, that isn't the case, and it takes a lot of internalizing and self-awareness and perhaps a bit of humility to step back and say, how can I become better for my horse?